And I wanted to look for something that I had tucked away here, and I couldn't find it where I thought it was, but I actually came across some other things that I had tucked away, and they shouldn't have been tucked away. It should be back in my room. Let me get a soda and we'll talk our way through it. I got some buildings that I want to go ahead and paint up. That'll give me the reason to get more. I'm going to take these alligator clips, get them out of the way. So we're going to prime some stuff. And I did find the one building that I knew that I had, which is this old, I want to say this is by Hovels. And it looks like I started painting it way back when. And that's as far as we got. So we're going to prime this. This is all resin. And use it in one of the buildings in the scenario that we have to do. Along with this thing. And that's what we're going to do, at least prime them. But I wanted to look through this stuff that I had. I thought I had it inside and I didn't. And this is my extra spare parts. And I was looking like this for like crazy the other day. And take a look at one thing here. Is it this? No. Is it this? Live chat, right? And shit. Okay. I wonder if I can. We're just going to roll with it. Let me see where there's the options to turn it. It doesn't like it when I turn it that way for whatever reason. Okay. So I've these spare parts that we had here. Okay. And I knew I had these everywhere. There's these extra pieces for armored car. Now this seemed like they're damn near full. But these are extra sprues that I have. And the reason I was looking for these is because I need a tank commander for my King Tiger. And I wanted a guy that was sitting up upright. So these are, I'm going to bring these inside. Give you so much extra plastic parts in these. And I think it's in here. The cough that never quits. And yeah, the extra pieces of track for the Panzer IIIs. I knew I had all this extra stuff on here. Yeah, this is the guys we're looking for. So this is going to come inside with us. I was wondering where the hell it was. That's what happens when you move. And even more pieces, parts here for martyrs and such. The crews there for the all kinds of stuff. So this is all going inside in my bin where all the modeling stuff is. There's 1/35 scale decals. Lots of old Airfix figures, which may be able to have a new lease on life at some point. One of the few model kits I wasn't able to finish. This is the Airfix Churchill. It's in 1/76 scale, and I might be able to use the decals for something, but somehow I lost one of the tracks, and it's got all kinds of tiny little, I don't know, whenever it was building this 30 years ago, it didn't work out for me. I probably could kick its ass now, but I don't know where the track is, so there's really no point. Why did I pull that out? I don't need these Lithgow stamps. Damn it, man. Okay. Won't be doing anything with Lithgow stamps for a while. Okay, in this bin, there is all kinds of stuff like these doormats that are actually to use as wheat fields, which, other than the fact that if you got guys that are working their way through here, they'd just be sitting on top. There's no way for them to sit in there. But these were for a scenario that I put together many years ago that involved some apple trees. I actually have apple trees with little apples on them. So, there's that. And lots 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 of trees. Lots of them. So, some hedgerows that I made that at the time I thought looked pretty good. They're a little narrow, but they look all right. They look the part. And this is what I used to put the trees on. I'd put them in there on this. I think that's need to go in a different direction. This is a 15 millimeter building from, I want to say this is from the Mexican-American War, but it almost looks big enough for 20 millimeters. So that's why I was going to use it for something in Italy. Little Italian building. And I'd have to do like a little cardboard cutout, set it off to the side, so when they're inside the building, you can actually move them around on a little cardboard cutout, because it has an interior, but not really much of one. So we'll end up painting that up as well. Here's this bunker, Atlantic wall type bunker. I don't know who the fuck made this, but it's a building. Definitely has a concrete type finish. Yeah, these look pretty good, don't you think? This is just scouring pad stuff. And I spray painted it green. I think it was already green or dark green or something. Spray painted it green and then put the woodland scenic shit on it. Here's what we want to get to, stuff on the bottom. 15 millimeter Borodino church. Might be good to paint in the background, leave it alone. But here's what we want to get to. And I've had these forever and done nothing with them. This is by a company called Queen's Hussars. They're now made by somebody else. I forget who the hell makes them. But they're all resin. They're all multiple parts in here, multiple levels. I'm pretty sure I got these from Brookhurst Hobbies way back. These are like $50 a piece or something like that. The bad thing is if this falls on the ground, it shatters into a million pieces. I'm kidding. It'll only shatter into about 20 pieces. And here's the companion building that needs to be cleaned up. And they got even a subterranean level. Some of you guys have been around a long time in the hobby might probably recognize this. Like, oh, I used to have one of those things a while back. Well, I've done nothing with them. I'm going to do something with them. Organizing my gaming room? No, I'm I'm fighting terrain. I'm going to do some terrain. I got to do, I don't know what the hell scale this is. This is like 28 millimeter. This door is too fucking big. Maybe I'll paint it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll give it to somebody. I don't have that many buildings, but I want to get some more. But the only way I can justify getting more buildings is to paint what I have. You know, this broke off. Have to epoxy this back in place. But I wanted to get to these buildings because that's what we're going to. I got a church I need to buy. And I found out, I think, the church that I want to get, but it is a lot of money. It's like probably $100 by the time you add in shipping. Okay, Borodino Church. We don't need you right now. How much space is in here? Quite a bit. Let's put this shit in here. All the Airfix plastic figures, MPC in my case, Airfix molds. I don't know who litho stands. I don't know why the hell they're doing. Okay, all those parts, they're going to go into the hobby room along with these parts as well. We've got some tracks for Panzer 3s. We'll be able to make more with the green stuff. All right, so what does that leave us? Well, I want to prime some buildings, in particular this one right here. This is an old hovels. It has a removable floor here. This one's not removable at all. This is all cast inside. So we're going to prime that joker. That one doesn't need any cleanup. It's been cleaned up. This one also doesn't need any cleanup. We'll probably prime that as well. This, however, needs a shit ton of cleanup. I mean, like, badly. So we're probably going to punt on this, but this is literally like a couple of buildings, and you can see that in all the moves they got broken. But, you know, it's just a single break. Like, you can glue this stuff back relatively easy. But these are literally two buildings that are across the street from each other. You know, and they've got basements and all kinds of stuff in them. So we're going to work our way to that. I mean, they're pretty involved. But a lot of this stuff is going to need cleaning up here with an X-Acto knife. X-Acto knife probably. I don't want to use a Dremel. That's going to create all this toxic dust that goes in the fucking air. I don't want to breathe it. I also don't want to wear a fucking mask for 6 hours. You know, so I think I can I think there's even a door on the roof. You know, there's a lot involved in here. I've seen these used by somebody as Stalingrad buildings. You know, I don't know that I'm going to make mine particularly Russian, but it's definitely a big city type place. Somebody else makes them. I forget who has the molds. It used to be called Queens Hussars. So, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I almost think that this show, I would just give this away to somebody that does 28 millimeter. But this is what we're going to prime this thing up. There's something else that goes to this. I want to say there's like a doorway or some shit. I'm not gonna sweat the little stuff right now. So that's what we're gonna do today. Let's fire up the airbrush. We're gonna have to give this a good old BJ because it's lots of dusty. Lots of dusty. More extra parts. I got all kinds of shit. I thought all this stuff was inside. I guess it wasn't. But all that stuff will be. Let's take our jewelry off. We don't need that. Get the .5 needle out here. And this is a lot better to do this with black than with black spray paint that is just toxic as shit. So I'm going to take a couple of these pieces of cardboard, maybe even this one, lay it up here. That way we've got somewhere to set this thing on. Man, this cough is driving me bananas. Ba-frickin' nanas. Let's jack this up to about 50 psi, and let's blow the shit out of this. Old dust from the 1990s, 20th century dust. This actually has a hole here. Hovels, I'm pretty sure, made that. And if I have time, I'm probably going to prime the big ones too, and just clean them up later. Now there is like a little entryway here. So doesn't this look good enough for 20 millimeter? Just a small little Italian looking building. Mamma mia! Oh, it's going to get stuck like that? There we go. I've got to do this intermediate floor anyway, so just grab it by a spot. We'll come back and repaint that area. This stuff is self-leveling, so if you put it on too thick, worry not. Done. I might as well paint the bottom too. Done. And I'll go ahead and stick it on this styrofoam here. Looks like I have the airbrushing nail. Well, there's still always challenges. Let's get a little bit of. Honestly, I don't make much of a mess. Oh shit! I shouldn't have said that. It sure looks like I got it handled, doesn't it? The problem is, there's just a lot of stuff you just have to figure out by yourself. Got a little box here. I can use it as my rudimentary garbage can. And there's a lot of stuff they just don't tell you. There's a lot of stuff that they just don't come out and tell you. The most important thing that you need to know that they don't tell you is these people that have all this problem with the needle getting stuck. And what they don't tell you is that these airbrushes come with a .35 needle normally. And you can't use that needle for some stuff. You need to get yourself to .5. They don't tell you that. And it reminds me of this. Many years ago, we got at the other house, we had a router, right? And it was this router that told you, I think that's what this was. Anyways, it gives you all these instructions of what to do after, once you have it plugged in, but no instructions how to plug it in or configure it. So, if you can't get it to work right to begin with, all the advanced skills and stuff like that aren't going to be very helpful. And you're going to give up. You're just going to get frustrated. I'm going to stick this over here to dry. And there's so much misinformation on the internet. Oh, you got to thin everything down. Oh, you're not supposed to thin the primer, and it's like, this stuff is a polyurethane based. And it's really good because it's self-leveling and it flows almost like enamel. Like it's got some kind of enamel properties to it, like thinned down enamel. It flows really, really well. You can't just thin it with water or thin it with airbrush thinner and it behaves like it's supposed to, because it's very gummy. So this stuff is meant to be used straight. Well, if you can't airbrush it, well, what can you do? Well, you got to use a bigger needle. And you got to jack up the pressure big time. And it's not foolproof. I still get jams on it. But it's the exception, not the rule. You just gotta blow the shit out of that thing sometimes. But yeah, I've gotten better. Every time I've done it, I've gotten better at it. And that's all really you can ask. We got some little doorways in there, inside. Some nice detail in there. Let's go in here and get in the crevices first. And then if you miss something, then you can go in there with a paintbrush and fix things up. And I prime everything in black. Everything. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. I'm not telling you how to do things. I'm not here to convert anybody, or I'm not on a crusade. pray the hard to reach places first. Because what happens is you end up inadvertently getting things on areas you're not aiming for. So you're going to get some of the areas that are easy to hit along the way. You do it the other direction, you're going to be putting even more paint on areas that are easy to reach. And then you got a wet situation. So come in and get your corners first. You're almost out. All right, now instead of refilling this, I'm going to go ahead and clear. Ow. Pointy needle. I'm going to actually clear as much of this out as I can because this stuff behaves very gummy-like. Almost kind of like the cheese on the top of a French onion soup. It's great stuff, but it's weird. It's very weird. So in between filling this cup, what seems to work pretty good is go ahead and give it a rinse in between. And don't buy an expensive, not blowhole, I was going to say. Don't buy an expensive one of these things to. You could just use a jug. Mr. Wardrobe, welcome. Good afternoon to you too. For those of you that have seen Spirited. I should change the name of that channel to World War II all the fucking time. Just like old times. I'm only going to fill it about a quarter through. And that works this works pretty well doing it that way. Now, I'd like to grab this in a way that I'm not painting myself. That just creates extra drama. Do I play Crusader Kings 3 or Hearts of Iron 4? So I do play video games. I play them a lot less than I used to. The reason I don't play video games much anymore is cool stuff happens and there's nobody to share it with. I've not played any of the Crusader series games. The only games those are made by Paradox, aren't they? The only Paradox game that I ever played was Europa Universalis 2, the first one or the second one. But I am not a strategy gamer. I much prefer tactical games. So I'm not interested in running the production of a I don't want to play Hitler or Stalin or stuff like that. I like playing the first lieutenant or the captain that's running stuff. So I prefer stuff like close combat. I prefer tactical stuff. I'm not a strategy guy. And I think most people that are war gamers prefer strategy to tactics, but I'm a tactics guy. I'm a tactics guy all the way. Holy shit, this stuff got thick. Well, that's a good place for it to be thick. It'll all even itself out. Hearts of Iron, I want to say I played one of those Hearts of Iron things one time. And I don't like those games. I like Europa Universalis enough. But I don't like those games where you have this character that's moving from one zone to the next. And you see this almost like a number line. And it takes him forever to get to the other zone. And just before you get over to the other zone, you get attacked from somewhere else. And all that time you spent waiting was wasted. It's a little too much like, whoop, like the carpet getting pulled out from under you. It doesn't sit well with me. But I can't say that there's a strategy game that I play a lot. And certainly if I was, it was a long time ago. The game that probably had supply and stuff like that I enjoyed the most was this series of game called V for Victory back in the early 90s. And they did a really good job of handling supply, how you had a limited amount of supply and you had to distribute it amongst your units. You couldn't do stuff everywhere you wanted to, so you kind of had to mark the man. It was kind of a neat little wrinkle, but I don't game much anymore. I got all kinds of close combat ones that I've never played and just I haven't played them. And my computer's awesome, but it's so limited on space. What am I airbrushing? Let's see. What do we got? Those some good grades. Good point. Airbrushing. I'm airbrushing some buildings I've had for a long ass time. There's a game I recommend called Beyond All Reason, which is a successor to Total Annihilation. It's focused on combat control. There's also a war game called Line Wars, up and coming. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of things that interest me, fortunately. I don't think games are a time waster. They're a way to play the period. Like you want to play some World War II stuff and nobody's around, you fire one of those things up. What I don't like is board games. I don't like board games because there's not a good way to, you could end up playing it wrong. There's not a good way to save your game. It's not that it's a board game. It's just that, so when those board games get ported to your computer, I'm actually a fan of them. I got nobody to talk to about those games, so cool shit will happen and I got nothing. Okay, that one's done. All right, now back to this old hovels that's half-ass painted. We're gonna start with the inside and work our way out. How are we on? Yeah, if I did this with spray paint, it'd be a toxic freaking mess. But I'm not much of a strategy person. I don't like playing games where it's like, all right, let me build a bunch of German tanks. I'm like, well, which ones are they? What are they painted like? What division are they part of? I mean, that's the kind of stuff I like. If that stuff is not included in the game, it takes part of the enjoyment out of it. Well, everything's toxic. I got a fan right now blowing me this way, so blowing me this way? Yes, I got a fan blowing me. Hey, fan, blow me. I use spray paint rattle cans for the longest time. But I use these rattle cans by a company called, everybody's heard of Testers, their line called Model Master. It was relatively good quality, didn't clog, didn't smell too bad. You don't want to breathe this stuff in, but you smell some of it, right? So the smell you do smell might as well be somewhat pleasant, not seem like, you're giving everybody cancer in the whole neighborhood. If I'm spraying in an open area with a fan blowing and my wife still says, what the hell are you doing in here? It smells strong. It's too strong an environment. So I was perfectly happy using Model Master to prime, Model Master to seal. And then this company called Rust-Oleum went and bought Testers and discontinued a whole bunch of their paint lines, including all the Model Master lines. So they kept like the shitty paint, and so like the spray cans weren't any good anymore. The paint was thick, it was poor quality. You couldn't get through a whole spray can without it jamming up on you, even if you held it upside down and followed the instructions to clear it and everything. And I'm just like, so I had to go find either Krylon or Walmart brand stuff, and it is just so damn toxic. Tasting? Yeah. Toxic smelling. And you get a much larger can, but you couldn't get it all out. It was just the quality control on the cans was terrible. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to get an airbrush if it's just, even if it's just for priming and sealing, which is all I was using spray cans for anyway. Because I'm really not a spray, I'm not an airbrush person. But I'm like, well, I got one. I might as well try doing some camouflage and try doing this, and, increasing my skill set. But I think it's a hell of a lot easier to brush paint. I've been airbrushing for 2 years. Yeah, you can use whatever you want, You're not stuck using enamel paints that are super tough. You don't want to breathe this stuff in anyways, but this has zero smell. And some people airbrush enamels. I plan on never doing it. You need to hold this away from yourself. Same thing with glues. Glues have always smelled. I've always used weld cement. It has a smell. It's not an unpleasant smell, but it's not one you want your face in all the time. But then there's some stuff like, I think it's Mr. Hobby or something like that. It smells like you're trying to melt a fucking car. It's really, really bad. Some people swear by it. It might be a great product. It just smells toxic as shit. I'd rather keep my lungs. Oh! And on that note, I'm going to go grab the hand sanitizer, because the hand sanitizer is the fucking miracle right here when it comes to acrylic stuff. Because this polyurethane stuff's actually hard to get off your hands, but the hand sanitizer takes it right off. I'll be right back. If you get one takeaway from any of my program, it should be this: hand sanitizer to clean anything acrylic. It is fucking magic. It is. I don't know if it all works, but Purell works really well. And other people have discounted it. Oh, it's the same as using rubbing alcohol. Okay, I did a test a week ago to see if that was the case. No, I don't know what the hell's in here, but this shit works great. I don't like having paint on me, because what will happen is you got what I like to call live paint, and you transfer it onto something else, and you got a mess on your hands. So remember how I told you this Vallejo primer gets, as it dries, it gets kind of like a fake cover on it, like the cheese on an cream of onion soup. Cream of onion soup? You know what I'm talking about. And that also happens with the little hole that came out of. That's what happened, is it clogged up. I went to squeeze it, And more came out than I wanted to. So, shit happens. When in doubt, wear black. Black is the color of mistakes and fat people. All right. All right, here we go. As we were. You can hand paint with this stuff too. It takes a lot longer. See, that's what it is. Sometimes it just gets thick on there. You just gotta blow it out. And that's with it like at 50 psi. This is like relaxing. And we're just going to dry brush. We're going to dry brush the main color. You know, we're going to dry brush like, this looks like it's got almost like a stucco finish on it. The brickwork, we're going to do that a little bit different. We're going to give it some kind of a brown wash to tie it all together. And then we'll re-dry brush it again. You know, it's going to take us probably 10 hours or so. It's going to take as long as it's going to take. Because we don't have to have this done by a certain time. It doesn't really matter how long it takes. Now let's make sure we didn't miss anything underneath here. So I think the company that made this is called Hobbles. They may still be in business. I'm pretty sure somebody's making their molds. And yes, it's made in Britain. The land of toys. Oh, we missed all these. Let me just come in here and just take care of that just like that. Okay. Now that's sitting pretty. Now there was an intermediate level, wasn't it? Or did we already paint that? Yeah, it's hanging up there. Okay, now this is dried a little bit. So what I like to do is move this to the other area that we already went over, and then we'll airbrush this. Okay. Now, this beautiful thing, made by, hell, I don't know who the hell it's made by. And this is the first 3D printed building I've ever got. And honestly, the quality on it's pretty good. They got a bad building inspector though, because the entrance to the second level is right over the doorway. So it's almost like a trap door. So I'm probably going to end up covering that, make a false opening somewhere in the back where it'll end up being. So we're going to airbrush this as well. And I think we just ran out, didn't we? Sure sounded that way. Let's trust the system. And this is just a mixture that I got from somebody online. They made their own using all kinds of mundane items. You save a lot of money for cleaner instead of buying airbrush cleaner. And if you're wondering why I'm on this different format than I normally am at, well, Streamlabs and YouTube are out to get me, I guess, these last couple of days. And I'm having disconnection issues. I'm not doing anything differently. And the show must go on. You guys need to be entertained, and I need some company. All right, bottom floor. Start with the corner, just like you're the guy that's spraying for roaches. Get all the hard to reach places first, and the easy to reach places will inadvertently sometimes get painted along the way. Okay. Yeah, so I'm actually filming with my phone. I'm filming on a mobile connection because the computer just, I don't know what happened the last couple days. I don't know whether it's the solar flares. I'm not smart enough to figure it out. That's not the way I think. So we're gonna wait a few days, maybe try it again. But getting everybody here and then disconnecting isn't my idea of a good time. This is my little French restaurant. I already have a name for it. This thing ought to paint up really well. Got some nice detail on it. Level 2. You tell this thing's running all the time. We're trying to keep it up at that 50 psi. MP Model Plastic, welcome back. You're in Portugal, aren't you? The P would make sense. Land of cork. And port, too. Yeah, so this starts building up like the scum in here. I want to get rid of that before it gums everything up. It's just annoying that you got to do it this way, but it is what it is. It's a good product. Do the harder reach places, go around the window frame. You're going to get enough overspray from that it'll make it easy to paint the rest of the stuff. This looks a hell of a lot better prime black than it was without any paint on it. Because there's a little bit of a pattern, and it's all but disappears when you prime it black. You can tell how much I'm doing it. It's not jamming on me. But I'm also running it with a 0.5 needle. I'm running it about 50 psi. And I'm cleaning it in between these. That level's done. Oh, did we do the, no, we did not. Wow, that's going to be fun getting in there. Aha! Building before check 38s. I don't know what that means, Jeffrey. Okay. And we can let go of this now. Looks like I've been working on the coal mines and frickin' chimney sweep. Ah, damn it. I was hoping this wouldn't happen. Well, I'm going to do what I said I wasn't going to do. Let's put more before I clean it out. I think this is like the last batch. So I don't want to put a whole bunch in here. Okay. Now, what does that leave me? This thing, I think I'm just going to give this away to somebody. This is just too big. The doorway is just like, doesn't seem right. The bricks are big. Not worth my time. And I don't know that I really want to get into how these things are just a monstrosity. These Queen Hussars things. A lot of different brickwork there. And those need a lot of cleanup. And I'm not using a Dremel tool. I don't want all that shit airborne. A lot of resin sometimes smells like mothballs. Not exactly a healthy material to be breathing. Although this Italian house does have this front landing that I probably need to find. It's actually a Mexican house, but I'm going to use it as an Italian house. Mexican house from the Mexican-American War. I think it should be there. No matter. We'll work our way in through this stuff. That church I want a church. There's a church I want to get. I'm not going to let myself get it until I get these buildings painted. Just doesn't seem right. I'm going to go ahead and clean this thing out. And that's where we'll stop for this evening. We've got lots of trees. We're going to do stuff with the trees. Just just dry brushing just a little bit of other colors on here makes a big difference. There's hardly anything in there. An hour. I got quite a bit done in an hour. So the thing with airbrushing is, don't make any fucking plans. It's going to take as long as it's going to take, and that's how long it's going to take. If you start thinking, oh, this ought to take like 30 minutes, you'll get a jam, you'll get frustrated. Don't even start airbrushing if you have a limited amount of time. Pull the needle up just a little bit so you don't damage it. And sanitizer works really well in here. Get rid of that extra gunk. Especially when you're using this stuff. It's very, very thick. Make sure you can see light through it. Yep. And let's pull the needle out through the front. Hand sanitizer works great for that too. Okay, now let's get all this shit off, which is a pain. If you're not using hand sanitizer. Because this stuff's actually pretty resistant to soap and water. Once it dries on you, it's kind of a pain to get off of your hands. It's polyurethane. It's got some polyurethane properties to it. Okay, and that should be it. That should be it. So we got all this stuff primed. Let's see if I can do this without, let's see if I can disconnect this. All the stuff that we primed here, good Lord, almost fell off of here. Now this is what I airbrush on. It's one of these tables that is adjustable, and it's super handy to have things underneath it and everything, and it's just kind of in a little spot here in the garage on this table that the previous owner actually built, did a great job of building it. airbrush tank over here. Got my fan going. Plugs. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, folks. And we'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.